coming to you live. Still here from Plug It's Mobile Studios in beautiful Los Angeles, California. We are keeping you plugged in with episode 260 of F5 Live. Refreshing technology.
Today, we've got news from Sony and EA's E3 2012 press conference. Say Nick.
Nick.
Clap at Nick. Yay.
3 days in.
I know.
I can still say that part. It's the most I can do.
You can still say your name. Hooray!
You know, better than Vegas.
Well, that's true.
The real question is, though, can you identify that smell?
Yeah, it's us. I got that.
Because it's several people in a small room. Got it.
Well, it's several small rooms, but yes. Doesn't change the fact that I know that because of all these things that aren't so refreshing after a while, you must be talking about that not so new tech smell. No, still new.
Watch how this works.
Because Scott, I think this show.
This show?
This show right here.
This one here?
This one right here. It's part of the Tech Podcast Network, John, if it's tech.
It's here.
It's here. It's crazy. I'm Nick.
I'm Scott.
And I'm John.
And we're here.
We are.
Hey.
We're right here.
And you're glad.
And it is 1:30 East Coast time. It is not that. 10:30
Fake people time.
Left Coast time.
It's imaginary time.
It's RPT and FPT. Real people time, fake people time.
Yeah.
ZA people time. ZPT.
Oh jeez. The scary thing is everywhere I look, I see clocks that say 1:28, including the big one in that room.
Yeah, that one is to keep me sane back there. I look back and I'm like, okay, what time is it back home to talk to the people that are important? Like, it's too late to call them now.
Indeed.
Or too early.
The computer powering this one is the only one we have that says the left coast time.
Indeed. But for those people, wherever you may be, if you may be sleeping, however you may be accessing our show, whether it be in your dreams, thanks for making us part of your day. But of course, there is one place you can always go to get all of the content at your leisure and not ours, because it's the only time we get away from Rule 1, which is for our entertainment only. And that's by going to f55.tv, clicking the subscribe buttons on the right-hand side, audio, video, social.
And punching the microphone.
All there for you.
It works.
Our loyal F5 Live listener. But of course, there is one place we want them to be.
Right now.
And that's chatting with us live in the studio every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, or when we do these conventions like LA Gaming Week Live 2012. That's by going to f5live.tv/join us. Stay tuned. We shouldn't waste any time. Let's jump right into it. A lot of news to cover.
Yes.
We've done our recap. We're here in LA. Let's get it started. Sony and EA tonight.
Indeed. For those of you who have been following along all week, we appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.
We've done the live blogs. Now you get to hear our real commentary.
Let's do it right now. This year's Sony press conference recap is proudly powered by Shockwave Unlimited. It's still limited.
Yes.
The goal is it's Shockwave in its entirety.
And it's Shockwave.
Play games.
Like the one that's not on the screen.
Don't say that. It's right there.
Right now. Monkey Quest. Of course, Monkey Quest.
Yeah, Jigsaws.
It's always Monkey Quest.
And John's favorite game.
The Nancy Drew Secret of Shadow Ranch.
Nancy Drew.
Because he has had a special life.
He's only worried about the secrets at Shadow Ranch or the secret of the shadow at the ranch, which is him in the shadows.
Ooh, look at that.
Or in the trees at the ranch. It all works out.
Shadows of the bushes.
So there's a lot of good games over at Shockwave, and it's quite crazy that you have so many games for such a low...
And so little time.
Yeah, that too.
400 games.
My favorite and yours, Operation Air Penguin, brought to you by the wonderful folks of Madagascar 3.
Yay.
You would like that.
Play of the week. That's
you and your penguin fetish.
What gave it away?
The penguins.
This one? Or is it this one?
The penguins. The penguins gave it away. Yes, that was...
No, not that one. Cooking Academy 3, recipe for success is by listening to our show and by going to f5live.tv and clicking the link
in the center.
Get your game on. Speaking of games, we
now
have a lot of games.
We do.
Not us personally, but the
We got games.
things we saw have a lot of games.
Yes.
They have games, we have swag.
You know, that's what's important.
It's true. So, for those of you who have been following along all week, obviously we've been sending
Somebody.
different team members to the press conferences, and the only one that we managed to get scheduled for 2 people to be able to attend was Sony. It was last night, and they didn't disappoint per se.
That's fair.
But they didn't necessarily wow. One of the things that was nice was that they did show a lot of exclusives. You two talked yesterday while I was handling EA, which we'll talk about in a minute. Right. You guys talked about Microsoft. Microsoft showed off a lot of non-exclusive games.
Right.
Really only 1 or 2 exclusive titles. Sony kind of went the other way. They showed off... Now, they showed off some things that aren't exclusive, of course, because, Assassin's Creed is a cool game. It looks good on the PlayStation. Ooh, yeah, we're going to show that off. Of course we are. But they showed off exclusives, which was nice, and they showed off physical hardware, kind of.
Now let's make sure
Which is cool.
For those who haven't listened to our Microsoft stuff.
Yes.
And we need to make sure we bring clarity to this. Microsoft was all about entertainment.
Yes.
Sony's was all about gaming, and they did entertainment because Microsoft did.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So the difference there is...
And Nintendo did entertainment because the fans have finally demanded it, but we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Right. Or, I don't know, one of these times. My times are all screwed up. Yes. But Microsoft did the big blockbuster games that, everybody could play minus Gears. But the focus wasn't on that. It was, haha, you can also do this.
Yes.
So Sony brought in the exclusives because they kind of had to.
Right.
This is their make or break year just as much as it is Nintendo's. At the end of the day, the dust clears. Microsoft may be the one left standing. So Sony had a lot riding on this event.
Right.
And you mentioned it after the conference. And we'll, Quentin Tarantino this thing. We'll mention it now so everyone can understand why it ties in. They get excited when they shouldn't get excited, and they do a great job.
Yes.
And then when they don't get excited about the things they should get excited about, like new hardware, it turns into crap.
Right.
So they did the former rather than the latter.
Right.
They got really excited about things that aren't really, they're not exciting, but now I'm excited.
Right.
They got me excited. You want a PlayStation now.
I do. I have never been a Sony person, and they kind of sold me on wanting a PS3.
And why is that? Because Sony is all about building a game that has a great experience to it.
Right.
When you play a PlayStation game, regardless of the genre, something about the character, they're better than anybody else with it.
Right.
They suck you in. It's not this one-dimensional character. There's so much more to it.
Right.
And you're like, wow, I really relate to that character. Sometimes you get chills when you don't get to play the game anymore.
Right.
It's that kind of feel.
And you relate to the character so much that they have realized it and they've done something with that. We'll deal with that a little later in the conversation, but let's start with the way they started. They really wanted to wow, and so they started with a new IP from the makers of Heavy Rain called Beyond.
Yep.
Quantic Dream back at it again to develop the emotional experience that we talk about.
And it is beyond amazing.
I like what you did there.
It's actually based off of a real person.
To a degree,
I believe they're real. That was my takeaway from it. Jodie Holmes, who's played by Ellen Page,
yes,
in the game, is the
capable of controlling ghosts,
or the person who they said was always feeling like there was something invisible there that she could sense.
Yes,
that no one else could. I think that Jodie Holmes was that real life person that it's based off of.
Gotcha. Well, she is It's an interesting twist of sci-fi and horror and action adventure. Like
it makes you
so
think,
interesting,
and it sucks you in.
Yeah, Ellen Page is really good at doing that with her characters. You really feel for her, and the opening of the game they showed us, which the first part wasn't gameplay, was
10 minutes of awesome.
Well, really,
you really felt for the character.
The character obviously seemed a little bit out of it. She was sitting in some kind of county jail.
Right.
There was a local cop there, and then eventually a SWAT team shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole SWAT team of guys come in to get this girl, this little, seemingly weak girl.
Right.
So it's an interesting situation. And they skip forward a little bit. She's wreaking havoc across the town, throwing people around,
destroying everything in her
setting
wake.
things on fire. Yeah. It's kind of when I first saw it, it kind of reminded me of the movie Carrie.
Okay.
Where they pour the pig's blood on her and she goes nuts and burns the whole building down.
Right.
Everybody dies. Right. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
From what I gathered from what we saw of the game.
Yeah. It looks incredible. It is almost single-handedly the reason I want a PlayStation, because I love it.
I want to put something on record here, and it bothered me.
Okay.
Something not about the press conference, but about the promotion of this game.
Okay.
I was talking to a couple of people right before the show, just chatting with some people back at home, and I'm talking about some stuff that we saw at E3. They want to know what I saw. They always do. So I'm sitting there going, you got to check out Beyond. It's a great game. So we go and pull up. We share our screen. I pull up the cinematic, the trailer on YouTube, the 2-minute version. The 2-minute version, my friends, does not do any justice for this game. Now, there's two reasons why. One, it's too short. Doesn't explain anything.
Right.
Two, they cut the scenes between the silence and the SWAT team and blend them.
Oh.
And then she talks in the room, which totally ruins the feel of what that character is for the game.
Well.
So if you want to watch the trailer and learn more about the game, go and watch the extended version.
Yeah.
Understand the character, because if it's... Again, PS3 has the best characters, and Jack Tretton was all about that in this conference. To enjoy the character and understand why this game is different, you have to understand why the character is.
Right.
So go watch the 10-minute cinematic. All the scenes are in real time, and you'll respect and enjoy the platformer even
Absolutely.
more.
So, speaking of deep characters that you associate with, we've known it was coming. It's been announced mostly, but we really got to see this thing in action for the first time. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Yes.
It is PlayStation meets
Smash Brothers.
With a very Sony twist to it. You've got
Sweet Tooth.
You've got an interactive map for one.
Mm-hmm.
The actual board has things that, not just like things that move or things that get in the way. You've got characters from the game that will show up and wreak havoc.
It's like they ripped a page out of Mortal Kombat with the destroyable backgrounds.
Right. It's really cool. They announced 2 new playable characters that we did not know about. Little Sister for 1 and Drake for 2. Drake, we had to assume, was going to be playable. Anybody who didn't know that is crazy.
Right.
But the Little Sister being playable is cool.
Now, it's a lot, like you guys said, it's a lot like Super Smash Brothers.
Right.
But a lot more hard-hitting. Oh, my goodness.
And and the point is different.
Yep.
It's a 3-minute point-based battle, and you get points seemingly only by using specials.
It seems that way.
Yeah, they called them supers.
Yes, supers.
Which is a pretty standard fighting game sort of special move category. But yeah, there were 3 levels.
Right.
Obviously, we saw in the actual gameplay footage, Sweet Tooth got up to 3rd, and when he did, he owned everyone. He got 4 kills.
Right.
Like
this
just
big
from that
monster thing
Yeah.
he got into.
And we saw Kratos with a couple level 1s and some other stuff like that. So supers are definitely the ways that we saw to really get the kills. I know that like in Smash Brothers, you could build up the damage quite a bit to the point where if you flicked them, they would fly off the screen. Didn't really seem like that here. You really gotta be proactive about beating on the other guys to build up your super bar.
Yes.
And you have to be defensive because it's also based on your kill-death ratio.
Right.
So you can't just go on this dying spree and get a couple of kills. You have to balance that.
Right. Now here is the big, cool, important feature.
Mm-hmm.
Cross-platform playable. You can play PS3 and Vita same time.
Speaks volumes for Sony to wake up and go, you know what, this one we can't miss on.
Yeah, it's about time they've really accepted the cross-platform play. And this isn't the only game they've done it in. They've given us some cross-platform, or at least cross-controller play with Little Big Planet 2.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool to see. And I even wanted to make note that I'm impressed with Sony's logo for cross-platform.
Yeah.
It is half PlayStation controller, half PS Vita, with arrows in the middle.
Right.
It's very simple. It's like 3 simple lines, and I gotta give them credit for that one. It worked out well for them.
It could almost be Metro.
It could be if they put it in a tile like they did the opening of the press conference.
Yep. It's a bunch of live tiles in the backdrop.
Yeah.
So for those of you who might be wondering, Fat Princess, played by some Asian guy, actually won the match that they had, which was pretty cool. Then they also went on to mention a couple of things, like Scott was talking about. 200 titles coming to the PSN within the next year.
Yes, 200 digital titles.
Yep.
Digital distribution titles. And they're doing that because 80% of PS3s are online on the PSN. They've accepted that the PSN is a big part of who they are.
And
we'll see if that actually plays out on the PS4, but
we'll see. There are 60 new titles available for the Vita in 2012. They're going to have PS1 classics, Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy out for the Vita this summer as well. So they're trying to bring a little bit to everything. And
they also tried to bring a little bit of heat on Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
Jack was making a couple of little ribbing jokes here and there, and then he goes, we're going to have music streaming. We're going to have almost 15 million songs. That's just under half of what Microsoft will have, but it was a bad time for him to be ribbing them.
Right.
Yeah, they were talking about MLB TV, Vudu, ESPN, Hulu Plus, and Crackle.
Right.
Actually, all coming available to the Vita soon.
Sometimes it feels like the big three don't watch each other's conferences.
I know.
They only watch when something big gets released and then go, oh, we have to do that too, or oh, we have to change this. But they never actually watch the whole presentation. I don't think so.
Well,
because things like that happen.
Lately it seems like Sony's been very reactive, but that's okay. It's not the end yet.
They got on the horn, to me. Okay, so you have MLB TV, Vudu, ESPN, Hulu Plus, and Crackle all coming to the Vita along with YouTube and Music Unlimited. It felt like 2 nights ago they called up those people and said, hey, could we add you to the platform this time? Is that cool? And they were like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
We're already on Microsoft's, it's fine. We have the API.
Right.
So that's what it really felt like. But then they brought it back home. You have big games coming down to the little console, little handheld.
Right.
And you have a special version of Declassified. Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified.
Right. Which will be a Vita title. It's nice to have Call of Duty on the mobile. It's good for them to be there. I think they've finally kind of accepted that as a thing they need to do, and the Vita is the perfect place for it because the screen quality is incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's almost like Retina display.
Right.
It's nuts.
Having a 3DS myself, seeing it versus the Vita, I mean, the screen is absolutely incredible.
Makes it look like a Game Boy.
I know, it really does. But that's not the only Vita title coming. There's Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation.
Yep.
And not only is it coming to the Vita, there will be a special edition Vita. It will be the first time it'll be available in white.
See, I was going to say, it's not just the game.
It's,
they launch it with a white, like Altair's robe.
I know.
So
and the white one is so cool looking.
They actually call it a crystal white, and it's Wi-Fi Vita. It's going to come with a 4 gig memory card
and the game.
And Assassin's 3 Liberation.
Right.
Available October 30th.
And you'll see it's interesting, just as a note from Assassin's Creed standpoint, a lot of companies have gotten together with the game and have benefited in many ways. You saw Shogun Brothers back at CES has a custom mouse gamepad that was white with the leather. And you have a lot of companies getting in with the Assassin's Creed brand, and it proves that that series hasn't died yet because they've spread out the games. Hasn't been every year, and they've improved over the repetitiveness to now.
It has been every year.
No, 07 was the... I guess so. I didn't think about
there's been there's been a full game announced every year, but that's not it's not a problem because the game is not. It's not like Call of Duty where every time a new game comes out, it's the same game in a new location
with a map pack. Yeah.
With Assassin's Creed, like we'll talk about that now. The next Assassin's Creed 3 has a new assassin. It's in a new era. It's in the revolutionary period. There's pirate battles, like ship to ship battles, which is the gameplay we got to see at the Sony press conference. I mean, the water looks realistic. It's so impressive, and again, with the hardware.
Right. And I was going to ask you, Scott, from a developer standpoint, the 3 hardest things to make in a game: weather, water, physics.
Yes.
They mastered all 3 with Assassin's Creed 3.
The water is so impressive. For those who haven't been following our E3 coverage in the past, water is my pet peeve.
Right.
Poorly done water drives me crazy. Now, I know how difficult it is to animate water. I've tried. I used to do animation. It's incredibly difficult. But I've been able to be successful with it. They should be able to be too.
Indeed. So they did that. And I liked the progressive weather pattern changes that didn't hit you spot on.
Yeah.
It built up to this cloud.
Oh my God, it's raining.
Thunderstorm, and then light drizzle, and then freaking downpour during the battle, which was awesomely timed on their part.
Right.
Made it look so much more epic. And the explosions were crazy.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on to the game, and yes, I understand it's gameplay, but it's rendered in to make it amazing.
Right.
But they always manage to retain most of that with the Assassin's Creed series.
Yeah.
It's always a beautiful game.
Now, of course, we'll talk about Assassin's Creed in more detail during Ubisoft tomorrow, so definitely tune back in for that. Far Cry 3 is another game that Sony showed off. Again, we will talk about it in depth when we get to it. But for now, it's important to note that 4-player co-op.
Yes.
Which is something that was alluded to in the Ubisoft conference.
Right.
They mentioned something to the effect of, look, we've made things. I don't want to give it away, but we've made things more explorable. Blah blah blah. All this awesome stuff. Oh, and that's just a single player. So we knew there was something coming up for co-op, and we saw it in the Sony conference here.
Right. And I've always been a big proponent of, if you're going to build a sandbox game, give the players a shovel. And now they have.
Yes.
We get a map editor.
Exactly.
Oh, we get a map editor. The repetitiveness of Far Cry 2 goes away. I get a map editor. I can create my own world and then play that world with my friends. And PlayStation gamers get the exclusive DLC.
Right.
Which is amazing.
Then Jack comes back out, and he starts giving a little bit of ribbing again, talking about Move and how Move is the big platform and
has over 250 games today and stuff like that.
And then he little finishing blow on Kinect or on Wii. It's not an all or nothing choice. It is used to enhance, not to replace the normal control.
See, that's more Wii based because there are some games that are better with Kinect and some games that are made for Kinect.
Yes. But no Move title requires Move.
Right.
It is only there to enhance, not to replace. Now, I would like to see how our next title that we talk about will work. Sans the Move, but that's a different situation. So the hardware they showed, I alluded to some hardware earlier. The hardware they showed was the Wonder Book. It's not really hardware, per se, but it is a physical thing you have to make it work. So,
it's hardware.
Yeah. It is essentially, if you've used the 3DS and you've used the AR cards, it is that, except the cards don't, the book doesn't actually trigger the game. The game is unique to the book. Okay, I understand. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The one they're really excited about is Book of Spells. It is Harry Potter.
Yes.
Of course it is.
The whole premise is to put you in this world where you are a student at Hogwarts learning wizardry.
Right. And the book is obviously the physical book is blank. It shows up on the TV with whatever you're doing. Things can come out of it. And you use your Wiimote, I apologize, your move.
The ice cream.
Yes.
Ice cream cone.
You use it as your wand, I suppose.
And you sometimes get it right, and you sometimes take 7 tries to get it right.
Right. So here's the problem. This thing is not ready for prime time yet.
No.
I don't know if it's the Wonder Book that's not ready for prime time, or if it's just the game itself that's a problem. But full on, it is not ready. It was not ready to be shown off last night.
No.
And they should not have done it because
Yeah, it's
I wrote in my notes, the game controls similarly to Lair. That's not good.
They kind of hinted at that, too. The creator, the director of the game came
Yeah.
on and was like, we didn't know yesterday we were going to be here.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So
yeah, this is some pretty heavy AR stuff, augmented reality, and I guess we're gonna show you.
And it takes a lot of skill to make AR. It's a
Yes.
very skilled craft right now.
indeed.
Yeah.
So for them
But,
to present something that's not ready makes the confidence level in the consumer lessen,
Yes.
because this is a new technology.
Yeah,
People don't understand it.
It was a massive mistake because the game was jerky and terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The motions weren't forgiving enough.
Yeah, it's
The graphics were pretty rough.
when all is said and done, it's going to hurt sales of the Wonder Book and the game itself, not help, which is a shame.
But for those of you who would be interested in something like that, the good news is they think that they'll have it all sorted out by fall 2012.
I
which
can't
is,
see that happening.
Which
I
is the
can't either.
expected release.
I can't. Yeah, no. There's almost no chance of it. In the condition it's in today, there's almost no chance it'll be ready for release in the fall. But that's okay. Release and then patch, right? That's the current
It's
motto of development.
Dead Island theory.
Yeah. So
It's the beta release theory.
so then we get into a topic that is near and dear to John's heart, the PlayStation Suite, which has officially been renamed to PlayStation Mobile.
Yep.
He said several times and was obviously poking at Apple. It is available for open operating systems,
Yes.
meaning Android, and Bite Me Apple is
Yes.
is what I heard. So obviously Android is not actually an open platform, but that's a topic for a different day.
We've covered that
We have,
several times.
but that
Well,
was
and-
what he was getting at.
Yeah, and on mobile, they're soliciting developers to create actual Android games
Right.
for Sony and different things like that, which is an interesting move in a different direction for them. There's also something that they started talking about after that, which kind of made me a little upset. They said, hey, guess what, guys? Sony and HTC were partnering up to take care of our gaming phones. Conversation complete. Moving on.
Oh yeah, and by the way, we renamed it mobile. That
Yeah.
was
What's the difference? I
What?
joked to Scott,
I have-
John, and
I-
you'll
I
appreciate
have
this.
here in my notes.
Oh, good.
I guess that's it about their gaming phones then.
There was a missing piece, John. You'll appreciate this. I had a prediction, and I should have been correct, knowing how Sony is, but I guess they pulled a fast one on me. I thought they were going to rename the PlayStation Suite because it's all about having something with you, taking it with you. They were going to rename it PSP Go.
Oh,
I thought they would.
you just can't let it go.
all right. Can't let it go.
Yeah.
So let's move away from that and into
The Awesome?
The Sony title that
That
will never die.
wouldn't have been a
God
Sony
of
press conference
War.
without it.
Right. God of War Ascension.
Mm-hmm. Which is similar to the Xbox 360 title we saw called Ascend.
Yes.
Which was God of War.
Indeed.
That's funny.
Uh-huh. That's funny. So yeah.
Was insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it
And I've played all of the God of War titles. That was insane.
it's the God of War you would expect times 10.
It's the God of
It
God
was
of War.
pretty intense. Something that I liked that was pretty cool about it was the fact that you could manipulate objects.
Mm-hmm.
There was a dock that was destroyed by a giant sea monster throwing a ship into it. And
No
you,
biggie.
you kind of needed that to get up to the higher level because there was a cliff there. So, no problem.
But not Cliffy B.
Nope.
Cliff
Who?
Blazinski.
Cliff
Because that's
Blazinski.
the other game.
Yeah. Gears of War. Yep.
Yes.
So, so basically, you have the ability to recreate objects that have been destroyed,
Which was
which is
weird.
pretty cool.
It was cool but weird because he built it in a way where he could have just rebuilt the stuff and completed the task without jumping to the other side, but I'm not complaining.
But he was showing that you could interact with it in
However you want it.
mid-stasis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The game looks unbelievable. Can't wait. It'll be
How
good.
they keep getting better and better is beyond me. But they manage to do it every year.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to that. March 12th, 2013.
Right.
And was he the guy that threw down the controller at the end? No.
I don't
Yes.
know.
The
No,
next
I
one. It
don't-
was the upcoming one.
Nope. It must.
It was him then. Yeah.
I thought it was like a little thin guy, and this was not.
No, this was the bigger guy.
Yeah.
So it
This
was the
wasn't
next
him.
one.
Yeah, I
it
guess
was
so.
the next one. Okay.
So they started strong. They decided to end strong. They ended with a new IP called The Last of Us. It is the game that even Carla is most excited about, I believe. It's a father-daughter duo, from what I can tell,
Mhm.
and
From a very large family. Hence the title name.
she's pretty hardcore,
Yeah.
impressively hardcore.
Impressively violent for her age.
Yes.
I don't condone these actions.
It's a pretty cool game. I am totally looking forward to it. It is the other reason I want a PlayStation. I don't even know what to say about it.
But it's not like I was expecting new Uncharted Drake.
Yes,
Mhm.
because he looks a lot like Drake.
I did not receive that.
No.
And I was confused.
Yes. Yes.
Are
But
we all on the same page with that?
Indeed.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
It is.
Drake is now in Battle All-Stars
Yes.
and is taking a year
He's
off.
on hiatus.
He's busy doing something else. So yeah. It's. I don't even know how to describe it, honestly.
You're stuck in ancient Rome in modern time. Post-apocalyptic ancient Rome. That's what I'm going to call it.
Interesting.
You know I'm right. You've seen the buildings. I'm spot on. With Middle Eastern English-speaking men. There we are.
Yeah, that all sounds about right. That's about all the information we have.
And crackheads, because the two homeless people that he bashed in.
It's true. Yeah,
And
so
the girl has a violent mouth. That's not nice.
she does. So
It's a cool game.
looking forward to it. I don't know that we got any kind of a timeline on that game.
No, he just said, smash the thing. He killed the guy, dropped his controller, and walked away.
Yep.
Out he went. Yeah.
And everyone thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it was
Because
pretty
it
cool.
was.
So
Overall,
that was Sony.
do you think, did the showing meet the expectations of the average person going into this conference?
They outdid my expectations,
Fair.
which is impressive, but I also don't have high expectations for Sony
Anymore.
on average. They outdid my expectations last year too, so maybe we should be raising our expectations for them.
Perhaps.
They may have figured out how to do an E3 press conference.
They made more progress with PlayStation Plus and the media portion of content providers.
They did.
Than I expected.
Yes.
So that was a plus for me.
It's funny.
I know, it's funnier than normal PlayStation joke. So that was probably the thing that I expected the least for them to spend a little time on. The mobile, we've kind of known about that for a little while, so that wasn't much of a surprise.
Right. The HTC was.
Yeah, the HTC was.
So it'll be Sony handsets and HTC handsets that will be PlayStation approved.
For me, and I'm gonna go out on a limb here like I always do because that's kind of how I see things. I look at things a little bit differently.
No kidding.
Well, you're a bit special.
Pro, they stuck with what they know. They're exclusive, nailed it. They said, look what games we have. You can't get them elsewhere. Why bother? Look how great they are. Look how much action there is. And we're not just that shooter like all the games you see on Microsoft. We have some tact, some feel, some class to our games. That was a pro.
Yes.
Con for them is they really dropped the ball making that mobile thing not 10 to 15 minutes. I feel like it was rushed to bring it into the announcement, and then they walked away.
Yeah.
Well, and then they dovetailed it with the Sony HTC partnership too.
Right.
Right after, and there was just two things that I kind of wanted a little bit more, and they just totally blew right past it.
Yeah.
And a miss for me, and this is a stretch that's going to make a lot of people angry, and I don't really care. A miss for me is they didn't, either one of two things, they didn't announce or hint at the continuation of, we have newer hardware coming, or we've partnered with AMD to come out with the new graphics processor, or something of that nature to take a step away from Microsoft going, we don't need new hardware this year, look how awesome we are with Kinect. Or they didn't go, we're gonna start charging you for gaming so we can build a better network, eh?
It's coming.
And to me that's a miss.
Now, to be fair, Jack did hint at hardware. He very specifically at the beginning said that the PlayStation 3 was entering its 7th year
Yes.
of its 10-year life cycle.
Fair.
Well, we know that this is about the time where the PS3 started to step on the PS2's toes.
Where the PlayStation starts getting sold in Brazil.
Right.
It's a transition.
Yeah. So all in all, I think it was a good showing. I don't think that they necessarily hurt themselves with it. I think they certainly hurt the possibility of the Wonder Book.
They did.
But I think all in all, they enhanced their image in gamers' eyes.
They did, and they got more than just the fanboy on board with this.
Right.
And that speaks volumes because you're not the only one.
Right.
It's hard to sway you. So there were other people swayed before you were.
Absolutely.
And that's big.
So
now
that's Sony.
Without games, there is no
absolutely
big three.
Absolutely.
So it's time to give some developers some love. As much as we don't want to with these guys sometimes, they did a great job. Let's do that right now. This year's Electronic Arts recap on F5 Live. It's probably powered by Sirius XM Satellite Radio. Great things about Sirius. If you don't have one yet, you need to. And the best way to do that right now is, if you don't want one for yourself, Father's Day.
Absolutely.
It's just around the corner. We're
It
taking
is.
off because we know you have to get gifts for him.
So get the perfect gift for Dad, a radio he can use in any car, home, or office. You've got the XM Onyx with vehicle kit and portable speaker dock for only $129.
That's almost $100 off.
I know.
That's crazy.
Plus, you get free ground shipping on that order. So,
And for yourself, because now that's expensive, but it's still cheap. It's kind of that balance. You save $90, buy something for yourself from the outlet store. People go, gasp, outlet store. I'm never gonna do that. Someone threw this in the toilet and peed on it. No, usually not.
They usually clean it up first.
Fair.
true.
What they've done here is they just take the radios, they recondition them. So if they've been used in a store, they got used by a customer who got outsmarted by them. They weren't even taken out of the box and where they were sent the wrong one and sent it back. All of these radios are available for you 65% off. And for me, I have the XMRC2.
Right.
I upgraded just recently. I paid $170 for this thing. $69.99 in the outlet right now.
Doesn't that make
Don't
you?
I feel stupid?
Yeah. You look
So,
stupid too.
Well, thanks. But I do know one thing that isn't stupid, and it's what you hear. It's the best radio on radio. That's Sirius XM. It's by going to f5live.tv and clicking the link.
In the center.
Go check it out. You have
So-
to listen to something while you're gaming.
It's true.
He said something about not being stupid, and he pointed at his face, and I had to kind of chuckle.
Yeah, that can't be
Thanks, John.
the accurate
welcome.
statement. So, while you guys were on the air yesterday, I had the fun of live blogging the EA press conference.
Mm-hmm.
EA is always fun. And again, they right to it. Put your best foot forward. Everybody seems to be following that this year. They start with first shots of Dead Space 3.
It's the only way to start.
Absolutely. We all knew.
I think they've done that 3 years in a row now, it feels like.
We all knew there was going to be a Dead Space 3.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I think we all kind of expected to see it.
Practically EA's Uncharted
Right.
at this point. So
I think we all expected to see it here. I just don't know that we expected to see it first. But it was a good move. They're adding new locations, new types of locations, including a frozen planet, which is cool. You also get a new companion, John Carver, who will be playable as a co-op, or can tag along like Tails and just kind of be in your way or in your help, whatever, right? So what's interesting about this is the way they've done the co-op is incredibly unique. They if you're not playing co-op, you get to, say, a bar. John Carver's there, you meet up, you talk, and you go off. Maybe he comes with you, maybe he doesn't. Who knows? But when you're in co-op, you both arrive to the bar together, you talk, and you go out and battle.
Right.
As a pair. Like, the storyline is different, single and multiplayer, which is a really cool way of doing it. So you could actually play through the whole story once, single, and then co-op the story and have it be different. So that's really cool.
A lot of games don't do that. A lot of games will either make you do it one way or the other. You can't backtrack, and when you do, you lose the value of playing it a second time. Why bother? Because it doesn't give you any more depth. It's the same game.
Right.
You just have a tag along.
Exactly. So, looking forward to seeing this. The franchise is a success. It's always been a success. There's very little they can do to change that. I don't know that they could really screw it up. Obviously, they could. Everybody seems to. But for right now, it doesn't look like that's the case. And it will be the first of EA's cash pile for February 2013.
It's what they do. It's their late Christmas gift to themselves.
It's insane how many of these games we will be talking about will be 2013.
Minus EA Sports, everything comes out in February.
I know. It's very, very weird. Then, of course, the thing that EA is known for, EA Sports.
Yep.
It's in the game.
We saw they split it up during the press conference, so we'll cover Madden real quick. A lot of changes to Madden. There's the new Infinity Engine, which they're very proud of. The ability for non-predetermined outcomes.
They finally listened to the fan base and
Absolutely.
said, I'm sick of not having control over my game. I play. No, if I wanted the sim, I'd go watch it on TV.
It's no more of that. You see a certain tackle animation, and you know the game is over.
Just throw in the towel.
The console has taken over your play, and the outcome is written. You play it enough, you start recognizing the animations. You're like,
I stopped playing.
I'm not going to make it through this one.
Turn off your console, walk away. That's what I did.
So that's good. That's gone a whole new way of playing. You can recover from tackles.
What a thing.
Ooh. Real people can do it.
Now, they tried that back in 06 by mashing the X or A button as many times as you could. If you mashed it more than the computer did, you won that, and you broke the tackle.
Yeah.
Clearly, that led to a lot of problems.
The computer that can mash it infinitely faster.
Yeah, QuickTime events
And you
always
can-
work out well.
Yeah.
They're my favorites.
So now they revamped that. I kind of like that. I like that they kind of added the social aspect to
Yes.
Madden. It's different. It's not for the hardcore gamer, but again, EA Sports is realizing that, the hardcore gamer drives the loyal fan base. The casual gamer pays the bills. You got to kind of balance that out. So the social gamer can change their plays, can do all these crazy things, can select players. If you're using it on the Xbox, you can voice recognition and make changes to the player's route, to the play, to move the ball faster, to slow down, whatever you wanted to do, you
Right.
can do that too, and I liked that a lot.
And speaking of the social integration, you've got the connected careers and the league concept.
Yep.
Which is really cool. One of the things that I really liked was that you can have 32 players in your league.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick and create a character, a player, in your league, play, and if you get tired of it and you want to play a different position,
And not start over.
you can retire and stay within the league with your new character.
Right.
That's really cool. I was impressed with
It's
that.
the first time we've seen that in a game.
Yeah, you can go on and be a sportscaster,
Right.
apparently.
Yes, because you
Why
can
not?
play as Madden. So they also seem to have a partnership with Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
and that there's going to be a virtual Twitter feed within the game where you can see what ESPN analysts think of the character you've created. That's kind of cool.
I like that.
It's something I would imagine that is both annoying and incredibly helpful for the real players, so why not incorporate it here?
To me, it sets up, and it's not like this with any of the other EA Sports game we saw at the conference, and not like any of the other EA Sports games we are seeing at E3.
Mm-hmm.
For Madden, they are starting over. It feels that way. Last year,
I think
sales were down 20% overall last year.
I think they finally got the message
And
after like 6 years.
when enough of us leave, you have to change it.
Right.
Now, this sets up something great for next gen, for next year's version of Madden, for the next generation of consoles, where they brought back the fun in the game.
Right.
And I think they went over with the fun. There's a line. They overextended so they can come back and kind of center themselves. Take out what's the Twitter feed. Whatever isn't working for them. But they had to kind of reach out there, start over, and go, I brought back fun to football. I mean, I'm kind of excited.
Hooray!
And when's the last time I've said that? Season 2.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I'm excited. I can't wait. I want to see how fun this game is again.
I know. It's not the only thing you're excited about, though. We've got Maxis.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Maxis showed off
Oh,
two
baby.
Sim cities, the first of which being SimCity Social, which is another great reason to hate Facebook.
Yep.
You're going to get asked by your friends to join their city or whatever stupid thing is going to happen.
It's the first time I'm going to ask you to come play with me on Facebook.
I know.
I know, and well, they did say it was the best city building game on Facebook. I have to agree.
Yep,
It's not Farmville,
that's true. It is not.
and you can actually build a lighthouse.
So that's cool. But, it's got nothing to do with that.
No. Oh, wait, you mean that wasn't the highlight?
No, Maxis obviously has everything to do with the new SimCity.
Not Spore.
No, not Spore. The new SimCity, which we've been talking about for weeks now.
Yeah, man.
We're so excited about this new game. They've written a whole new engine for it. It's not based on any old code. It's all new from
Glass
scratch.
box.
It is so impressive. The graphics are great. The gameplay is great. And then the actual social aspect of it is done well. Play with your friends. Have your friends have towns around you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they pretty much, and they cover this a little bit in the EA press briefing, but they also covered it in their own developer blog later on, or actually earlier today. They said, and they've said this for a little bit, but publicly went on record to say, we're sorry for SimCity 4. and they didn't mean that in it was such a bad game. They meant it in we wanted to create a game that was really good, and we did. And then when we got done, it wouldn't run on a computer of that time. That's what they said. They said it wouldn't run on the fastest computer of that time in 2000. They said, we're sorry. We can't give you what you want because it won't play.
Right.
So we're going to give you this crap thing to hold you over for 12 years. They apologize. They actually apologize for that. And this uses the brand new engine that can handle up to a 12-core processor if you want to set it on ultimate settings. And you can do whatever you want.
Right.
But the engine doesn't need anything but a dual core. So the physics
is
of the
awesome.
game will run no matter what.
Yes, that's good to hear. I've not looked forward to a SimCity game like I am this one right now. Unfortunately, it has also fallen prey to the EA release machine and will not be available until February 2013.
But we knew that before E3.
It's true.
So I kind of accept it.
Yeah, well,
Well,
it doesn't make it better. It just
no.
makes it true.
barely tolerable.
The one quote that I really liked from them was, your gameplay choices affect not only the Sims in your city, but also the cities surrounding you as well. So the things that you do will affect your neighbors' cities.
I'm burning every city I get my hands on in our region.
Or they even mentioned that you could manage your own collection of cities.
Right.
As well. So it's kind of like a massive single player.
Right. So you always have the ability of setting small garbage fires just on the edge of town.
To let him creep in to Johnstown.
So that all of John's residents move because he is downwind.
And they end up coming here.
Right.
To my town.
Happy
Perfect.
that most of your town is not on fire.
Right.
Aw.
And you can always...
That's due to my own accord.
You could always send your mob to their town to start fires that burn your name into their city, literally.
We still don't know about that. We think there should be crime added in, cross-city crime.
Well, we saw a giant monster tromping through a city briefly.
Maybe you can control it.
Log in, remote in, and control the monster. That would be great. Invite your friends to control the monster in your town.
And then you have to play tank to get rid of the monster. It's like a mini game built into the game or whatever.
All right. Well, speaking of tanks, Battlefield 3.
Tank. Oh,
Ow! It just hurt my neck.
That'll teach you. Battlefield 3. Obviously not a new game.
no, it's been around for a while, and they've been updating it ever since it came out. They haven't stopped. These guys at DICE are crazy.
It's such
So-
an insanely large game.
Yes.
So crazy that since launch, 1.6 trillion bullets have been fired.
It's crazy.
26 million hours of flight time.
That's me just sitting in the helicopter for 8 hours, leaving my console on.
That's possible. And 15 million players worldwide. That means more than an hour in the air per player,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Of total time.
Yes.
Not an hour of game time. An hour in the air. Which is not easy in Battlefield 3. They shoot you down.
So,
With quickness.
so the thing that they were there to talk about is Battlefield 3 Premium.
Yes.
You're going to get exclusive items, customizations, expansion packs, the things that Call of Duty Elite was supposed to be.
So I was going to ask you, are we really getting exclusive stuff?
Well, you know what? These guys don't usually screw around.
No.
1.6 trillion bullets fired, 26 million hours in the air. So they don't really screw around. My guess is that, yes, the stuff that is coming to Premium will actually be exclusive. Some of it will just be early. Some of it will be exclusive. Unlike Elite, where nothing seems to have ever been exclusive,
there
and
was
they
no
haven't
point for
gotten
it.
anything early. But there are going to be 5 full expansions available. One of them available on the PlayStation today, already, right now. If you sign up for Premium, you get the first expansion immediately. If you're on an Xbox, don't worry, you're not too far behind. It'll be out next week.
Right.
Sony only has a 1-week head start on it.
And they always go back and forth with that. They trade off all the time
it's
because
no
EA
big
has
deal.
to give love to both people.
But when all is said and done, these 5 expansions will add hundreds of hours of new gameplay.
It's crazy. And this is on top of their 2 expansions already.
Right.
Since October.
Right.
Just put that in perspective. How many games don't update for a year?
I know.
They have 7 updates since October, and their first game when it launched had 20 maps. So take that, Call of Duty. It's basically what that is. And to clarify, these are from the same guys that took that Battlefield 1943 game, that mini Xbox Live Arcade game with, what was it, a $200,000 budget, and turned it into a multi-million-dollar game.
Right.
These are the same guys, so they have the work ethic to do it.
Absolutely.
I don't see anything wrong with paying $60 a year or whatever for no exclusive content and Facebook integration.
You get the Facebook integration.
Seems fair to me.
Yeah.
Well,
you paid your share. You're good.
This will cost you only $49.99. If you have that PlayStation, jump on Origin.com right now and pick it up. If you have the game for PC or Xbox, I would wait the extra week. Sign up next week and get it so that you have an extra week on your membership, or if it's annual. I don't know. They didn't really talk about how long the $50 was going to last.
I'm kind of excited because you have a lot of people that realize Call of Duty Black Ops wasn't really something they wanted to play anymore. So they kind of went to Battlefield 3.
Right.
You kind of get those same players that don't want to play the way Battlefield is meant to be played on the console. On the PC, you don't get that problem. But for the consoles, this $50 price point will deter those players. Thank God. Because that means you're going to have a really good balance of play the way it's intended to on these new maps that you paid money for.
Right.
So you're not going to get a distortion of quality because of the player type. They're going to stay away and not spend another $50.
Right.
They don't care what map it is. But you're not getting just maps. You're getting exclusive content, and that speaks volumes for their whole series.
Yes.
And I like that. I'm just happy about it. I'm sorry.
I know. No.
I'm happy about Battlefield 3.
It's a good game. It's been a popular game, and it's nice to see that they're not letting go. They're not coming out with a new game. They're enhancing the existing one. So that's
because
cool.
The game works. The Frostbite engine is amazing. Frostbite 2 is crazy. You watch the...
It's very cold.
Yeah. But even when you watch the 10-minute gameplay trailer at the beginning, right before E3 last year, you were like,
oh,
wow.
Yeah.
That looks incredible.
Indeed.
Up to 256 players?
That's MAG.
Oh,
That's
MAG, I'm sorry.
That's different.
It's okay.
That was not Frostbite.
That was
an
not Frostbite.
awful engine. And the game never worked.
but that's okay. This was not the only game that they talked about that you get to pay regularly for.
Right.
They also talked about Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yes, they did.
Speaking of subscription fees, we'll start by saying that starting in July, you'll be able to play up to level 15 for free.
It might get me into the game.
So that's kind of cool. I'm not a big MMO person, but, you know, it's Star Wars, so, you know, there's an established universe that people already know. It's the reason why World of Warcraft was so successful. So there was a strong built universe that was already in place that they enhanced with it. Star Wars: The Old Republic goes the same way, and their goal is to provide a living service that's always on, which is good for an MMO, considering it's an MMO.
That's kind of how it goes.
But the idea of a living service, the fact that there are things happening all the time, not like, you know, there are zones you go to, and anytime you walk into it as you go into a thing, and the action starts.
It's
they actually have events they want to have happen all the time.
That's kind of like in World of Warcraft, the instances were sort of the things that were controlled by you being there. The other zones still had a little bit of a life to them. There were events that happened, whether you were there or not. You know, rare spawns, things of that nature. Actual like events, triggered events in the game and stuff like that. But also, one of the things that they made sure of was that you never have to play alone again. And yes. I don't necessarily mean with other player characters. They've added the assassin droid.
Yes.
To the mix, which is like a companion for you.
Yes.
Which was pretty cool. We got to see that in action a little bit.
That's one of it. That is one of possibly multiple new companions that are available in the game. But, I mean, it's an assassin droid. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Are you saying we're starting a clan? So we can all go play?
No.
Nope.
We get level 15.
I know.
We'll do like The Office.
it
An hour for lunch, we end up playing.
It never stops at level 15.
How do I
Yeah.
turn around?
Yeah. But speaking of playing not alone, they have enhanced PvP. They're adding new zones. They're also adding levels. So if you're good, people will know. Or know to stay away. Whichever works. They're also adding a new planet. A whole new planet to the universe.
Can you just do that? Like, just add a planet?
Yes.
Actually, yeah. When I was at Celebration 6, we actually got to see firsthand.
5.
Or 5, sorry. Yeah, 6 is the
6
last
is this
one.
year.
This year. Ooh. That feels like a long time ago now. But we actually got to see at a panel the planet creation process.
Ah.
So I kind of got
That's
an
right.
idea firsthand of exactly how that happens.
Well, in addition to the new planet, they are also adding to the maximum level that you can reach. 5 or 10 points. We don't know what. It'll be in that range. That's pretty normal, 5 or 10. So what that means is new planet, new maximum level means new storyline.
Yep.
They will be adding new story, which is good because from what I understand, it has become stale. In that
Yeah.
once you hit 50, there is no story left. All you have is the daily quests, and the daily quests, they've started to run out of things, and they're starting to become text based, which is concerning from a game that touted itself as the first fully voiced MMO. That
Right.
seems to have become a problem for them, and things aren't fully voiced anymore. But the goal is to keep things constantly fresh, constantly adding content. EA seems to be behind this game.
Mm-hmm. I would hope so. They paid a lot of money for the licensing.
Yepers. That is for sure.
Yeah, and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, I'm sure, saw their cut.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mark,
not the guy in
did I say Carrie Hamill
No,
and Mark Fisher?
I don't think so.
No.
That's what I heard in my head.
Not
It's
what-
okay.
Okay.
You hear a lot of things in your head.
We're good. Yeah, none of the voices in the screaming.
Speaking of failures.
See what you did there.
That's funny. Medal of Honor's back.
Yeah. This time, hopefully not a failure.
I'll tell you, the
It
game.
had some promise.
The game didn't look bad. We all sat down and watched a recap of it earlier. The game doesn't look bad. A whole lot better than the last two.
Yep.
The goal is that everything that happens in the game is an actual event or tied to a real scenario. So the example that they used was Somalian pirates.
Right.
And we watched an attack on a group of Somalian pirates. So they've kind of taken the issue.
We talked about this. Okay, two things here. One, this is the Frostbite 2 engine now. So you're getting the upgraded engine. It's the same engine Battlefield's using. So clearly you're getting a better gameplay overall because the previous Frontline game was it looked great, played like Pong. I don't know. It's not fun.
Beer pong?
And secondly, they had to change the names of the Taliban, the Al-Qaeda, and all those things because people were offended. People put on their tight pants and their Maddie pants, and they didn't want to deal with reality in a fake game.
Right.
So they had to change the name. This combats that. This is a real game. Stuff in here is actually happening.
Deal with it.
If you don't want to deal with it, please leave.
We won't be sad.
Taliban's here. Okay. Like, you can't turn a blind eye to that stuff. It's in war. It happens.
Indeed.
So I like that they kind of just took a stab at that. Otherwise, it would have been the end of the franchise.
Right.
And that would have sucked. Because Medal of Honor has been around forever.
I know. So they will be adding 12 Tier 1 units from 10 different nations. So as opposed to the last one that was just the best of the best from the U.S., we now have 10 nations represented, 12 units. And it will be available October 23rd of this year.
Yay.
So that, I believe, is their first holiday title.
I think so.
And I believe only holiday title when all was said and done.
Yep.
Um,
Because
that-
Madden's in August. FIFA's out in October.
Oh, well.
And NHL's out in September.
But that's because of contractual reasons.
Yeah.
So, speaking of EA Sports,
Yeah.
we got to go back to them and
Yeah.
talk about Madden NFL Social. You start on Facebook, finish on your phone. It's a little thing.
We discussed that when Cherie was here.
Yes.
Social gaming and kind of its effect on there. I think it'll be great for the average person, but probably not for the person who's buying Madden.
So people who are buying FIFA, however.
It's different. I can't believe they actually made the game more beautiful than before. It kind of blew my mind. Last year, we were really impressed with the engine that they used. And this year, they call me a suspension bridge. I couldn't be more wrong. It's ridiculous.
More wrong?
Yeah. It's nuts. They've taken this to a whole new level. So last year, we saw dribbling control, kind of controlling the way you move up and down the field. Screw that. They said, every time you touch the ball, it's still perfect. It's a game, so we have to program these things in. We took a year, and we programmed dribbling the ball for the year. It took us a year, and we did it. We hired people on, and we came up with a 360-degree control. So the near perfect touch is gone. It doesn't exist anymore because depending on the trajectory and the ball speed and the pitch type and how you receive the ball, it can go anywhere. So now you can't have a pre-scripted control over the ball. 100% okay. The ball is free moving.
Boy, it sounds like that was the mantra for EA Sports this year.
Right?
No more pre-scripted.
Try again, because we understand that regardless of how many times we tell you that there's no such thing as momentum in the game and no such thing as computers controlling and the comeback AI I've been talking about since 2005, it's there. We just won't admit it. So we're going to remove it, or at least hide it. We'll call it hiding for now until we play the game. But I liked the dribbling engine. They completely redid it. And now attacking intelligence. Computers will think 2 moves ahead, 2 plays ahead, and find where, okay, if player A is in one spot, player B is in one spot, I shouldn't be near them. Let's go somewhere else. They didn't do that before. They just kind of did what they were supposed to do. So that's kind of nice. With the ability of Kinect, at least for the 360, you can actually use your voice to kind of control them too and tell them, hey, move over there.
Sure.
And they'll move that way too. So a couple of different things. The biggest thing is EA Sports Football Club.
Yes.
Which we've seen last year. They started it last year. And you pick a favorite team, and your favorite team gets points based on how well you play in your game modes.
Right.
And that team wins your season, and your season lasts a month. Let's take that a step further. Everything that you've done for FIFA 12 comes on over to FIFA 13. So don't lose anything. Secondly, let's take what you do and award you not only XP for your team, but award you things in the game. How they missed that last year is beyond me. But now they're doing it. So you can unlock, for Ultimate Team, you can unlock packs and coins. For head-to-head season, you can get bonus matches so you can have more points than your friends. All of these things go together. Your Be a Pro gets virtual pro skill upgrades. You get special kits, special celebrations. Everything that you do in your games, all the different game modes, you get rewarded for. And then you get unlockables for the game modes. What a concept. All the way up to level 100. You can level up to 100. Which I think you can only do like 75 in FIFA 12. So level 100. This whole football club thing is great. And they're going mobile again. They're improving their mobile. The app now will give you a lot more features than it did last year. You can bid and sell players on Ultimate Team. You can trade them. You can control your Be a Pro kit. You can control your custom teams. All of that can be done from your mobile device now and not just from your computer. And now we're seeing Madden pick that up. We're seeing NHL pick that up. So we're moving in the right direction of bringing the games with you because it's monotonous to control it all from your console, like the back-end stuff. When you want to come home, you want to play your game.
Right.
If you're on the bus, you can set your team up.
Yes.
And then you go home and you play your game. I'm on board with that.
Sounds like a plan.
So I'm thrilled. The beautiful game just got more beautiful. I'm happy.
It's very exciting. I love that it keeps where you were in your 2012 character.
Why lose progress?
That's great.
You shouldn't have to.
In the conversation of progress, however, let's talk about THQ for a second.
Yeah.
Totally inappropriate. I understand. We're talking about EA, so let's talk about THQ. THQ has been making the UFC games. Been doing it for a little while now. I think they've had a couple of games under their belt. That will no longer be the case. They have sold the rights to EA, and EA is now in charge of UFC. Now, two things here. One, it's another exclusive sports title going to EA Sports. Now,
it worries me.
Now, if they manage this one as well as they've started to manage their other three this year, it'll be good. EA Sports is certainly heading in the right direction.
It only took them 7 years to figure out the Madden exclusivity franchise.
Well, there's that.
Only. That's good.
So, EA is going to be in charge of this. The other oddity here is Dana White, who is the president of the UFC, had originally gone to EA to pitch the concept, and they said, UFC is disgusting.
Yes, they did say that.
And they wanted no part of it. So he left, he went to THQ, made the thing.
They thought it was great.
Everything was great.
Yeah.
So EA came out with MMA, I don't remember what it was called, MMA something, doesn't matter. Totally unlicensed, totally inappropriate. And
they did some crazy stuff.
Dana threatened to ban any UFC fighter, past, present, or future, if they appeared in EA's game. Past, present, and future. If you, as a 19-year-old nobody in the industry, were approached by EA and agreed to be in MMA, you could never compete in UFC.
What happens to those guys now that did that?
Well,
that's what I got to know.
That all seems to be going out the window because EA is now in charge of UFC.
He looked all sorts of excited about it.
He did. He is an oddball, as you would expect from...
He's gotten punched in the head a couple too many times.
I would imagine so. And
sometimes outside the ring.
And that was it. They didn't really show anything. They showed...
Kind of talked about it a little bit.
Fairly certain gameplay from the THQ games. And then he came out, and then they went away.
Unrelated, but partially, I'm kind of worried about the WWE franchise with THQ. Because they've been around with THQ since the N64. And those games keep getting better. What's going to happen to the development team now that they've lost a title? That's going to be a hit on the revenue.
Well, the thing is, the UFC was done out of the San Diego studio. And it was basically all the San Diego studio did. Unfortunately, the studio is now closed officially already. Same day they announced EA was taking over, San Diego was closed.
And half of the employees went over to EA.
Most of the employees will be let go. Some of them will have homes found for them on other projects, but most of them will be let go. My guess is that there is a home waiting for each and every one of them at EA if they are interested.
So long as the contract says they can go.
Yes. My guess is the contract will say that they can go, as it's the same franchise. They sold the franchise. My guess is the people could go with it if they're being let go from THQ. We'll see how that goes.
Understood.
To those of you who are about to lose your jobs, I'm sorry. It sucks. We have a good friend who went through the same thing with Activision.
Yeah.
So I understand it sucks, but when all is said and done,
you'll probably have a home.
Maybe you'll end up in a better position. I know she did. So
yeah, that's true.
So that's all good.
That's true.
We've got 2 more games. We're gonna kind of rapid fire here because I'm tired. I don't know about you guys.
It's been a long day.
Yeah,
it sure has. So Criterion came out and talked about Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Mm-hmm. Pretty excited about that.
It's kind of a bit of a departure from Need for Speed. A little bit. It's a little less race, a little more...
it's
sandbox.
A little bit more...
GTA
competition. Probably the most notable thing about that game is how they integrate the social aspect so deeply into this one. Literally, everything you can do in the game is measured.
Yes.
And you can compete with your friends literally in any aspect that you can think of.
Now, we know the last year's Need for Speed had that in it as well.
Yeah, the auto log feature.
But
Not quite this way.
they have upgraded auto log to make everything a competition.
They had a
which
name,
is why it's called Most Wanted.
Yes.
and they had a name for the system. I don't remember what it was, but
Autolog.
It was Autolog. Okay, that they upgraded immensely.
Now, I liked the autolog. I played Hot Pursuit, which had the autolog feature from
Yes.
Criterion. There was a title in between that wasn't Criterion, and they've come back with Most Wanted. With autolog, it was fun. You would play a race, and I don't like racing games too much. I kind of liked Forza, and I didn't, but I kind of like GT5, and I didn't. I'm not a racing guy. I liked autolog because I could do something and then post it to all my friends who were playing and go, look what he did. And it would say, look what your friend did. Bet you can't do that.
Yes.
I'm cool with that.
That's kind of how this is going to work, except there's none of the having to
It
post.
does it for you.
It's going to harass your Xbox or PlayStation Network friends for you.
Which is great, because isn't that what the
Look,
consoles...
moron.
Isn't that what that's been built around? Is
Yes.
How big is your EP? That's
Right.
what they want to know. But I like the fact that they've kind of sandboxed it. Do what you want and race how you want to. If you want to
Yes.
do an off-road race, go do an off-road race.
Right.
If you're getting chased by the cops and you have a truck, don't drive on the road. Take it off the mountain. And they showed that. They were like,
Hit the Hollywood
there was a
sign.
truck there.
the Porsche is going to go down the interstate and blow by the cops in the roadblocks. The off-road Jeep is going to go in the mountains, and you're not going to get caught by the cops.
Right. And speaking of the vehicles, it's important to note, as always, the vehicles are gorgeous,
Oh, are they?
incredibly detailed.
Need for Speed is always a flashy game.
It is an aspect of this game. They couldn't do it any other way.
GT5 is Gran Turismo is really realistic. Forza is all about the mechanics, and Need for Speed is always flashy,
Yes.
and it does not disappoint. You want to be the most wanted. You want to have the nicest car. The more you do with your cars, and the longer you use the same car, you get more points, and eventually you become the most wanted player. You have the most points, and everybody's shooting for you. And as they do that, you lose points, and they gain points.
Right.
And then they become most wanted. And if you're up there and you lose to your friends, you lose a lot more points than you do if you were trying to win and get your way up there. So I like all of this. It's kind of really cool. And we're going to see it also with special editions on the Vita and the iOS. So they've taken it mobile.
Right.
Take your car game mobile. Yes, please do that.
Play your car game in the car.
Yes.
Why not?
I will tell you that I have played a lot of racing games, both on consoles and in the arcade. I love arcade racing games. Cruisin' Exotica is one of my favorite.
Tokyo Drift.
Same game.
Yeah.
One of my favorite arcade racing games ever. Right now, speaking of mobile, the racing game that I play is actually a mobile game on the BlackBerry Playbook.
The free one.
Indeed. And if I'm not mistaken, it's actually a Need for Speed game, now that I think about it.
I think it is.
It is.
But I have good news for you. October 30th.
Yay.
All right.
So
Yes.
that's a game this year. I'm about to ruin that and add again to the February cash pile for EA. Crysis 3. Hopefully this game will not melt any computers.
Or be as bad as Crysis 2.
Yeah. The first one melted computers. The second one was terrible. This one, we don't know a whole lot about, and it's kind of sad that EA ended in such a note.
Right. That's what they do, though.
But it
That's
is what it is.
they do.
Yeah, they give you blue balls.
The one little bit of information that we got was that there would be what they call the 7 wonders, 7 different areas of the game, different types of gameplay, deep canyons, swamps, major shifts in location. That was basically all the setup they did, and then bullets. Demo time.
That's kind of how it goes.
Then they showed a demo. I mean, the game looks good. Of course, a Crysis game is going to look good. It's the reason why the first one was melting computers. It looked too good for the hardware that existed at the time. So, it was just expected that this would be a gorgeous game. Gameplay, I don't know.
We'll see.
Demos are never, the big on-screen demos are not always a great way of judging. With a Crysis game, there's really no way of judging. And they didn't do a long demo, which was odd. So,
all in all, my take on the entire event was that Electronic Arts as a company, I guess, started listening to our show.
It does appear that way, doesn't it?
Because they saw that if you keep your hands out of the developers that you've sucked into your corporation, they'll produce great games.
Yes.
Leave them alone.
Because it's what they want to do.
Developers, all they want to do is go home and code.
Right.
That's what they want to do.
Programmers program.
And the graphic designers who work on the game and the publisher, everyone wants to work together and just do what they do with the game. Let them be. Don't give them a directive.
Do what you want because a pirate is free.
That's it.
You are a pirate.
If you keep your hands out of the pot, you'll see great things. You'll make more money. You don't have to go charge for things.
See, that's a problem that they have here in L.A. Nobody can keep their hands out of the pot.
Right. I see what you did there.
It's funny because they have dispensaries here.
It's a dispensary joke. But at the end
At
of
their
the day,
dispense.
EA Sports also stepped it up.
Oh.
And I think that if they play their cards right, they'll end up picking up all the franchises. They're coming back strong with NBA. They didn't cover NHL on camera, but they showed it off at the booth.
Right.
They've improved completely. Again, non-scripted, motion-based, physics-based skating. I think they have something here. Don't screw it up.
Please.
For the love of all that is gaming.
You guys have finally caught on to what the world is.
I'm happy for the first time with Electronic Arts as a company. Tiburon's got it. Leave it alone.
Yes.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
For
you finally fixed it. Leave it.
For a company that didn't believe in mobile gaming.
And not that long ago. It was only like 2 years
like a
ago.
year or two.
They're like, we don't need to do mobile
They were
gaming.
they were like,
We're
this
fine.
is dumb. And now
Our hardcore gamers love us. Oh, what happened? We lost our hardcore gamers in 2 years because we suck at making games? Mobile games.
Mobile games are great.
We need them. Please buy them.
and like social mobile games, the ones that they hated more.
Yes.
By the time December rolls around, we're running out of cash from February. Please buy games.
The Sims Social, SimCity Social, NFL Social. Yeah.
The social.
They seem to have bought into Facebook.
The social integration with FIFA and the soccer club.
Yeah.
You know?
We don't need any of that.
More of that, though, is mobile-driven, not social-driven, for the sports titles, to a degree. You see more of the social titles with the EA games as general.
But the social aspect of like the FIFA soccer club was much more for display. The real parts where that shined was the actual. My brain is shutting down. I apologize.
Okay.
The auctions, the actual active management.
Yeah, it's to set up your team and get all that set away. So all in all, I think they've got something here. I just wish that they keep listening to the show. I'm finally happy with them for the first time in a long time from a guy that's played Madden since Tecmo Bowl. I stopped playing 3 years ago.
Fully. Just stopped.
Cold turkey, which is difficult. Makes you play weird games.
Warm
for a
turkey
while.
is usually better.
Yeah. It's less of a health hazard. So I think on August 28th I'm buying Madden. I think. I need to see more, and I know there's a lot more to see before then.
Yep.
But I will be covering
There's a lot more to see before the week's out.
Right. Announcements and stuff. It's just going to be nuts. So, all in all, I think EA did pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I agree.
This is
I'm
the
happy.
first time in, I don't know, a long time that I've come away from an EA conference and thought, all right, they're
well played.
I think they're doing it.
Well played.
Not amazing, but a lot better.
Yes.
And comparatively to last year,
oh man,
you're a god.
Well, it didn't. They didn't have it in a church.
Fair.
So that's an automatic step up.
Fair.
Wasn't that Activision?
Yes,
no,
it was.
wasn't. No.
Yeah, that was Activision.
I don't want to do this anymore.
With Joel McHale.
right now.
Who I am surprised did not catch fire in the church, but that's a different situation. So, While we're here in the closing, I want to cover something real quick. This evening, one of the events that we attended was Showstoppers, which our longtime listeners will recognize from our CES coverage. Showstoppers is a big event there. It was a big event here as well. It's all very exciting.
Showstoppers is everywhere, man.
While we were there, we got to see... We didn't get to play, but we got... Obviously, because, it is what it is. But we got to see a title that's going to be a launch title for the Wii U called Tailfin's something. And we talked to the program director for the game, and he gave us a present for you, for Liam.
I thought you were going to say they're going to program us in the game.
I believe his name was Tony Shellnut.
Yes, not in a nutshell.
Not in a nutshell,
Shellnut.
but Shellnut.
So,
how'd you get on that conversation is mind-blowing. We'll talk about that after the show. For several reasons. Talk about that after the show.
But
okay.
We have a gift for you or for Liam or however you want to do this. It is the main character.
Ha! Look at that. That's awesome.
Is the main
That's the coolest thing ever.
character from the game. This will be a... Oh, there it is.
Jet Tailfin.
Yeah, that's it. Jet Tailfin.
Cool. He's going to love it.
This is the main character from the game. It will be one of the Wii U launch titles. One of the few third-party launch titles that we've seen. So it's pretty cool. I thought
Wii U launch title.
Yes.
Awesome.
So
and we didn't hear about that at Nintendo.
Not at all. It's a very small. I mean, it's a Showstoppers developer. I mean,
these are the guys that the press want to talk to at the end of the day, though.
I know. Because these guys are more fun to talk to.
Because they're like us. At the end of the day, they're like us.
Exactly. So
it's good. That's
I
cool.
Thought
man.
you would
I
like
appreciate
that.
We'll have to make sure we send him a thank you. That's you have his card, I assume.
Absolutely.
We'll have to send him a thank you. That's wow. It's nice too.
I know.
That's awesome.
It's soft and I love it.
How many of these did he have?
Enough.
They didn't seem to have a problem with us unloading.
Made in
them,
April 2012. This is a recent production.
Yes, it is.
So
so there we go.
Foxconn. That's
that game.
We will
we
will be covering this more probably Sunday, where we usually kind of wrap up. But go ahead.
I was going to say that that game that the fish is from is actually a Wii U title.
Yes, we talked about that.
Yep.
We just said that it's a launch title.
Oh,
4 or 5 times.
All right. Well,
John's ready for
I'm
bed.
done. Yeah, I am.
Yes.
I'm done.
Again.
Yes. We will not be seeing our friends tonight, it looks like. It is midnight local time.
FP2. All right, tomorrow, more coverage. Nintendo, Ubisoft, and everything else that's happening. Make sure you stay tuned because you need to stay tuned.
It's true.
F5Live.tv. Click the subscribe buttons over on the right-hand side. Audio, video, and social, and our special events are all available for you. Make sure you subscribe. And I promise you, by the end of tonight, well, it's 3 a.m., by the start of tomorrow morning, we should have some content from our wonderful people, the lovely Courtney Wall and ever so talented Annie McCaskey from SDR News covering HP Discover. They have been working 16 hours a day.
It's fun. I got to talk to some people from HP tonight who were here.
Mm-hmm.
Did they come from the other event?
Possibly.
That might be where they were headed to, because I knew they were headed out tonight.
The big session's tomorrow.
Well, there you go. They work at the soon-to-be Apple campus.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So
I like that we have this for the closing right now. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting out of here. Tomorrow, stay tuned. We don't know when we're going on, but I think we might have to actually do 2 shows. It's going to be ridiculous.
It's very possible.
We're at Shifted to Reality tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to do a midday show and then Shifted to tomorrow night.
We got 2 shows tomorrow.
Holy cow.
It's going to be fun, baby. I'm ready. Are you ready?
We're ready.
We love you guys. Our fans is the only reason we keep doing this.
Yeah.
So on behalf of the staff that's not here or partially asleep, I'm Nick.
I'm Scott.
And I'm John.
And I'm freshly showered. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace, chicken grease.
Ciao.
Go with honor, friends.
Solidarity. Or solitary.
Remember the Sunwell.
That show got canceled.